Behind the high-gloss world of fame and fortune, a fierce battle is brewing between two of hip-hop's biggest icons. From the confines of prison, Sean "Diddy" Combs is reportedly threatening Jay-Z, accusing him of snitching to federal authorities. This explosive feud exposes a deep fracture in what once seemed like an unbreakable alliance. Jay-Z, meanwhile, appears to be distancing himself from Combs, seemingly on the run from the fallout of these allegations. As the legal pressures mount and loyalties crumble, the public is witnessing a rare and raw conflict fueled by betrayal, power struggles, and survival instincts. This saga not only shakes the foundations of the music industry, but also unveils the shadowy intersections of fame, crime, and justice. The plea deal, a turning point in a high-profile case. Though the exact details of the plea deal remain confidential, sources close to the matter have shed light on its potential impact. Federal prosecutors reportedly offered Sean Combs a deal that could have significantly shortened his prison sentence in exchange for cooperation, commonly known as snitching, on his associates and co-conspirators. The implication? Combs would have had to testify or provide evidence against individuals entangled in the broader alleged criminal enterprise, with Jay-Z's name reportedly surfacing in connection to these crimes. Jay-Z's reaction to this development has been a subject of intense speculation. According to insiders, the rap icon is deeply worried about the possibility of being called to testify against Combs, a scenario that threatens his vast business empire and personal reputation. There are even reports suggesting that Jay-Z may have urged Combs to reject the plea deal, emphasizing loyalty and the perils of cooperating with federal authorities. This dynamic underscores the high stakes for both men, whose legacies and financial empires could be irreparably damaged if the trial uncovers damning evidence. Loyalty and the code of the streets. One of the most compelling aspects of Sean "Diddy" Combs' ongoing legal battle is his unwavering refusal to accept a plea deal. Known for fiercely protecting his reputation and street credibility, Combs reportedly insists he would rather face trial and the risk of a lengthy prison sentence than be labeled a rat. In criminal and prison culture, being branded a rat often leads to social ostracism or worse, where survival depends heavily on loyalty and silence. This hardline stance exposes a raw layer of personal pride and survival instinct, highlighting the brutal realities behind Combs' polished celebrity image. His rejection of a plea deal guarantees a high-stakes trial that promises to reveal explosive testimonies and intricate details about the alleged crimes. Prosecutors depict the case as a sprawling sex trafficking and racketeering enterprise, and the courtroom drama may expose the hidden networks behind it. At 55 years old, Combs now faces the very real possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars if convicted. This looming sentence marks a stark departure from the public figure known for his success in music, business, and culture, underscoring the harsh consequences when loyalty and survival collide with the law. The courtroom drama begins. Pre-trial developments. In the days leading up to the trial, the courtroom has already witnessed intense moments. During the last hearing before the trial, Combs appeared visibly somber and seemingly searched the room for familiar faces. Yet his family was notably absent. His sons, mother, and sister, who had been regular presences at earlier hearings, were missing. This absence added a poignant note to the proceedings, illustrating the personal toll the legal battle has taken on Combs and his inner circle. The government confirmed it had extended a plea deal, which Combs declined. They also discussed the jury selection process, a critical phase, according to legal experts, that will significantly influence the trial's outcome. Jury selection in high-profile cases is notoriously delicate, with attorneys meticulously screening potential jurors for biases related to race, celebrity culture, and media influence. Combs has also bolstered his defense by adding 2 new attorneys to his team, signaling the seriousness with which he is preparing to confront the allegations. Historical context: the violent past of Jay-Z and Diddy. The current wave of federal allegations surrounding Jay-Z and Sean "Diddy" Combs does not appear out of nowhere. Instead, it emerges from a long and complicated history, one marked by moments of violence, controversy, and the complex dynamics of power within hip-hop culture. Over 2 decades ago, both men were involved in incidents that made headlines, shaping their public personas and laying the groundwork for the scrutiny they face today. In December 1999, Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, pled guilty to third-degree assault after a stabbing incident involving Lance Rivera, a fellow figure in the music industry. This altercation was not simply a headline to be forgotten, it was a significant episode that exposed the rough edges of Jay-Z's early life and the volatile environment of the late 1990s hip-hop scene. Around the same time, Sean Combs found himself linked to a separate shooting incident, further underscoring the violent undercurrents that have often accompanied the rise of these moguls. These violent moments are more than just past missteps. They are critical in understanding the current allegations of coercion, threats, and abuse that prosecutors are building against them. Both men have long embodied hip-hop's fraught relationship with power, survival, and street credibility, roles that have, at times, blurred the line between artist and enforcer, entrepreneur and kingpin. This history forms the backdrop to a case where their pasts and present collide with devastating implications. Lawsuits, threats, and allegations. The civil cases beyond the criminal charges. A number of civil lawsuits have surfaced, deepening the disturbing portrait of exploitation and abuse alleged to have occurred within the orbit of Jay-Z and Combs. One of the most significant lawsuits involves Joseph Mansaro, a plaintiff who alleges that in 2015 he was drugged, transported against his will, and sexually abused at a party orchestrated by Sean Combs. This lawsuit introduces a chilling term that has repeatedly surfaced in multiple legal documents and media reports: freak-off parties. These so-called freak-off events are described as prolonged, drug-fueled sexual gatherings where vulnerable individuals are coerced into participation under the watchful eyes of powerful figures. Manzaro's case is particularly notable not only for its graphic nature, but for the names involved. According to court filings, Jay-Z and Beyoncé were present at the party as witnesses, though they have not been directly accused of wrongdoing. The suit alleges Manzaro was forcibly paraded in front of high-profile guests wearing a humiliating penis mask, an act of degradation that signals the depravity of these gatherings. Adding an almost cinematic layer of secrecy, Manzaro's lawsuit describes the use of hidden tunnels between properties owned by Combs's associates, allowing guests to move discreetly from one location to another without public detection. This detail fuels speculation about how these parties were organized with meticulous care to maintain privacy and avoid legal scrutiny. Jay-Z and Beyoncé's response. In the face of these allegations, Jay-Z and Beyoncé have crafted carefully measured responses. Jay-Z has publicly denied all accusations linking him to the sex trafficking and abuse claims. Through a statement released on Roc Nation's Instagram, he condemned the allegations as heinous and emphasized the need for thorough criminal investigations rather than civil suits driven by opportunistic motives. His legal team has aggressively questioned the credibility of the plaintiffs and their attorneys, portraying these lawsuits as attempts to leverage his immense fame for financial gain. Beyoncé has remained largely silent on the matter, which in itself has sparked debate and scrutiny. Though no criminal charges have been filed against her, The civil suits placing her at these controversial parties have made her a figure of interest in the unfolding narrative. The absence of direct statements from her camp leaves a vacuum filled with speculation about what she knew, what role she played, and how these allegations may impact her career and public image. The responses from Jay-Z and Beyoncé are emblematic of how celebrities caught in legal and moral controversies often navigate the treacherous waters of public opinion, balancing denial, legal defense, and selective engagement to protect their legacies and financial empires. The intersection of power, fame, and crime. This unfolding case exposes the perilous intersection where unimaginable wealth and global fame collide with unchecked power and alleged criminal enterprise. Jay-Z and Combs are not just musicians. They are titans of culture and commerce, with business empires valued in the billions, spanning music, fashion, beverages, and media. Yet this vast influence can act as a double-edged sword. On one hand, it elevates their cultural reach. On the other, it may have created a shield against earlier scrutiny. Prosecutors allege a systematic enterprise that used drug-fueled parties, coercion, intimidation, and silence to exploit vulnerable individuals under the guise of glamorous exclusivity. Such accusations underscore how fame and fortune can sometimes mask the darkest abuses of power. The involvement of other celebrities as potential witnesses, some as unexpected as basketball legend LeBron James, adds complexity and gravity to the case. It reflects how this alleged shadow world of exploitation is not confined to one person or event, but may ripple through the highest echelons of entertainment and sports. For fans who have long admired Jay-Z and Beyoncé as icons of success, the stark contrast between their polished public images and these dark allegations is jarring and difficult to reconcile. The road ahead: trial and public reckoning. As the trial date looms, the coming weeks promise intense legal battles and heightened public attention. Jury selection will be scrutinized carefully, with the challenge of finding impartial jurors in a case that blends celebrity, scandal, and serious criminal accusations. Witness testimony and evidence could reveal details about the internal dynamics of these parties, the relationships between the accused, and the mechanisms allegedly used to control and silence victims. If convicted, Sean Combs faces severe consequences, potentially including decades of imprisonment. But the trial's ramifications extend beyond him. It could compel Jay-Z and others linked to the case to confront uncomfortable truths or face further investigation. The court of public opinion will also weigh heavily, with discussions about privilege, accountability, and justice dominating conversations about the culture of power in entertainment. Ultimately, this case is not just about individual guilt or innocence, but about exposing systemic issues that allow exploitation to flourish behind closed doors. The outcome may shape how the music industry, and society at large, addresses the complex intersections of fame, power, and abuse for years to come. The accuser's account: a story of trauma, witnessed by icons. The new claimant alleges that during a party at the Estefan mansion, or possibly at Diddy's own Miami home, they were subjected to sexual assault and degradation. What makes this allegation particularly chilling is the claim that some of the biggest names in music and pop culture were not only present, but reportedly witnessed the abuse. Names like Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Gloria Estefan herself have been dragged into the controversy, with the accuser asserting that these prominent figures did nothing to intervene or stop the abuse. This paints a disturbing picture of complicity through silence, raising difficult questions about power, influence, and the protection of victims in elite circles. Such claims reverberate with a haunting echo, given the cultural and social stature of those allegedly present. Beyoncé and Jay-Z, as global icons, wield tremendous influence not only through their art, but also their considerable business ventures and philanthropic efforts. Gloria and Emilio Estefan, pillars of Latin music and culture, are also seen as respected community leaders. To accuse such individuals of witnessing abuse and turning a blind eye is to confront the uncomfortable realities of celebrity culture, where image, reputation, and control often trump justice and accountability. Denials and defensive statements. Gloria and Emilio Estefan respond. In response to these serious accusations, Gloria and Emilio Estefan have vehemently denied any wrongdoing or involvement. Speaking to ET Entertainment Tonight, the couple issued a firm rebuttal to the allegations, stating that no parties were held at their Miami property between 2012 and 2019. This time frame is crucial, as it directly challenges the accuser's timeline and undermines the credibility of the claim if proven accurate. Moreover, the Estefans have indicated that they possess documentation to substantiate their denial, records which they are prepared to present in court if the matter proceeds to litigation. This points to a potential legal battle ahead, where facts, timelines, and alibis will be rigorously scrutinized. The couple's readiness to back their claims with evidence highlights their seriousness in protecting their legacy and reputation against what they categorize as unfounded and damaging allegations. The complex web of allegations, Diddy, Jay-Z, and the culture of silence beyond the specific incident in Miami, there is a wider context of accusations and rumors surrounding Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z. Some insiders describe them as two sides of the same coin, both deeply embedded in a culture that prioritizes loyalty, power, and control, often at the expense of transparency and accountability. Gene Deal, an anonymous industry insider, has remarked that Jay-Z and Diddy share a violent streak, with Jay-Z's demeanor characterized as quieter and less overt, while Diddy is seen as more flamboyant and outspoken. This contrast, however, does not imply innocence on either side, but rather different methods of wielding influence and intimidation. According to Deal, the only reason Diddy has been publicly caught is due to his louder, more brazen persona, which makes him a more visible target. This insider's perspective underscores the difficult reality that figures with enormous power often have multiple layers of protection, including silence from those around them, strategic denials, and an intricate web of alliances that serve to maintain their status and shield them from consequences. Jaguar Wright's revelations, a dancer's dark testimony. Adding weight to the swirling allegations is the testimony of Jaguar Wright, Jay-Z's former backup dancer. In a candid interview on Piers Morgan Uncensored, Wright accused both Jay-Z and Diddy of being monsters, alleging that victims prepared to testify against them exist. Wright's remarks evoke a pattern of systemic abuse within the entertainment industry, highlighting how women, and sometimes men, have been silenced through fear, intimidation, or career sabotage. Wright also alluded to the disturbing fate of many who have challenged or competed with Jay-Z, noting the deaths of legendary rappers Biggie Smalls and Tupac Shakur, as well as the sidelining of Nas after a public rivalry with Jay-Z. These comments suggest a dangerous environment where dissent and competition are met with severe consequences, further complicating efforts to hold powerful individuals accountable. The alleged leaked prison call, cryptic conversations, and hidden meanings. The controversy escalated further with the release of a purportedly leaked phone call from Diddy while he was incarcerated at the Metropolitan Detention Center. In this call, Diddy allegedly used coded language, referring to pizza boxes, a known euphemism for child exploitation materials, and hinted at a mysterious list of people involved. Though the authenticity of the call has not been confirmed, Its content has fueled speculation about ongoing illegal activities and efforts to cover up damaging evidence. The cryptic nature of the conversation, referencing recycling plastic and other obscure terms, suggests a clandestine communication network used to evade law enforcement detection. Observers and investigators trying to decode these messages face significant challenges, as such language is designed to obscure meaning from outsiders while conveying critical information to insiders. Political connections, the role of Mayor Eric Adams. Complicating the narrative further is the involvement of political figures such as New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Weeks before Diddy's arrest, Mayor Adams reportedly awarded him the key to the city, a symbolic gesture signifying honor and respect. However, this relationship took a darker turn, as Adams himself was later indicted on corruption charges connected to federal investigations. The linkage between Diddy and Mayor Adams has raised questions about how political influence and corruption might shield powerful figures from prosecution or facilitate illicit activities. The federal grand jury indictment of Adams marks a historic moment in New York City's political landscape, as it is reportedly the first time a sitting mayor has faced such charges. This development hints at systemic corruption extending from the entertainment world into the highest levels of local government. The power couple. Behind the empire, Jay-Z and Beyoncé's calculated alliance. In the glitzy world of music and entertainment, where alliances can make or break careers, the union of Jay-Z and Beyoncé stands out not just as a romantic partnership, but as a meticulously calculated business alliance. Far beyond the tabloid headlines and celebrity gossip, their marriage was forged as a strategic decision, one that would serve as the cornerstone for building one of the most influential and lucrative empires in modern entertainment history. At the center of this sprawling network was Sean Diddy Combs, known as Dirty, whose infamous parties and underground dealings were both a playground and a boardroom for the elite. The public might see Beyoncé as the queen of pop and Jay-Z as the rap mogul and businessman. But behind closed doors, they were the real architects of what insiders call the freak-off parties. Exclusive, secretive events, notorious for their debauchery and power plays. While many believed Jay-Z and Beyoncé were simply attendees, insiders say they were the true ringleaders, controlling the narrative and using these wild gatherings as leverage to expand their influence and dominance. Their alliance with Diddy wasn't happenstance. It was a symbiotic relationship that allowed all parties involved to grow their careers exponentially. The marriage contract, a gateway to stardom and accolades. When Jay-Z signed what industry insiders call the big one, it wasn't merely a record deal. It was a marriage contract tied directly to Beyoncé's astronomical rise. The union elevated Jay-Z from a hard-knock life rapper, known primarily for his street cred, to a global businessman and entrepreneur. This shift was more than symbolic. It was transformative. Before their marriage, Jay-Z's career was solid, but limited within the realms of rap culture, earning respect mostly from niche audiences. However, once their partnership was publicly cemented, accolades began pouring in. Suddenly, Jay-Z started collecting Grammys left and right, with his trophy count skyrocketing. Where he might have previously been seen as a gritty street artist, post-marriage, he was rebranded as a family man, a savvy businessman, and a titan of industry. This transformation was deliberate and carefully managed, underscoring the power of association. Beyoncé's star power rubbed off on him, changing the way the music industry and the public perceived Jay-Z forever. The fall of Sean Diddy Combs' legal fortress. While Jay-Z and Beyoncé's empire flourished, the same could not be said for Sean Combs, once a towering figure in hip-hop and entertainment. For over 2 decades, Combs was represented by some of the most powerful legal minds in the industry, including the prestigious law firm Grumman, Shire, Marsalis, and Sachs. This firm, home to legendary entertainment attorney Alan Grumman, an inductee of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and a founder of the institution itself, represented heavy hitters like Madonna, The Weeknd, and Bruce Springsteen. Being part of such a powerhouse signaled not only Combs's influence, but also his connections at the highest levels of music and business. However, cracks began to appear in this seemingly impenetrable legal shield. Recently, Anthony Rico, one of Combs's 6 attorneys, made the shocking decision to withdraw from the defense team, citing an inability to continue under the American Bar Association's criminal justice standards. No details were provided due to attorney-client privilege, but speculation is rampant about the nature of evidence or revelations that prompted this sudden departure. The legal battles and the weight of evidence. Sean Combs is facing an uphill battle in a federal sex trafficking trial set for May. His defense team has mounted aggressive challenges, attempting to suppress evidence obtained during raids on his lavish homes in Los Angeles and Miami. The searches, executed with guns drawn by Homeland Security agents, extended to Combs's iCloud accounts, electronic devices, and even his hotel room in New York City. Combs's lawyers argue these searches were unconstitutional, claiming the warrants were obtained through misleading information and salacious, unverified allegations. Adding to the drama is the involvement of Combs's ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, expected to testify in court. Ventura, who once settled a civil suit against Combs quickly, is positioned as a key witness, adding a personal dimension to the legal battle. The trial judge denied Combs's request to delay the proceedings, emphasizing the ample preparation time despite the revolving door of legal representation. Jay-Z's silent shift, from loyal associate to mastermind. While Combs faces mounting legal pressures, Jay-Z's role in this saga has quietly evolved. For years, he maintained a low profile regarding the scandal surrounding Combs, but insiders reveal that Jay-Z's silence was strategic. Now, as Combs's empire crumbles, Jay-Z is emerging as a decisive force behind the scenes. Reports suggest that Jay-Z was instrumental in distancing himself from Combs and may be pulling strings in the background to capitalize on the shifting power dynamics. If the rumored tapes and evidence implicating the inner workings of their joint empire surface, Jay-Z's position will be pivotal. Regardless of his wealth and influence, the streets are buzzing, and the walls are closing in on the empire built on silence, secrets, and complicity. The narrative that once seemed unbreakable now teeters on collapse, the end of an era and the dawn of reckoning. What once appeared as a thriving collaboration between music's most powerful figures is unraveling under the weight of scandal, legal battles, and fractured alliances. Jay-Z and Beyoncé's rise, fueled by a business-minded marriage and strategic partnerships, helped shape a cultural and economic empire. But the foundation built alongside Sean "Diddy" Combs is showing signs of fracture. As Diddy faces his trial with shrinking legal support, Jay-Z's emergence as a silent but potent force signals a new chapter. The empire built on collusion, secrecy, and influence is approaching a reckoning, one that promises to reshape the industry and expose truths long kept behind closed doors. This is not just the end of a saga, it's the unraveling of an empire.